Hey all, it is time for Jason's thoughts. Well, I was reminded tonight as I went out for a walk that, again, life is truly precious. And so I wanted to share this, my condolences to anyone that's lost someone important in their life. It's never easy, and especially the great ones. It feels like it hurts the most, but remember the moments you had and take time to reflect on them. With that being said, it's 1 week until I start my 12th year of doing Movember, which is along the same kind of vein. And I wanted to share that story before I do get started with my Mo come Movember in November. And that was sharing the story of someone that I lost very near and dear to my heart, one of my best friends, Tim, also known as T-Dog. I got a call, it was work, and I got my wife calling me saying, "Are you alone or are you with someone right now?" And I said, "I'm at work. I got some people." She goes, "Can you step out? I need to tell you something." And she let me know that day that one of my best friends passed away. He was 30 years old. He had just moved away to start a new chapter in his life, working for the Canadian Border Crossing Agency. And of all accounts, I thought things were good. And that, he was about to take on a new chapter. Lo and behold, after we got together as a group of friends and try to put pieces together and just be together, because I firmly believe strength in numbers when the things are the toughest, not alone, not by yourself. And then give yourself some processing time. But the reason I share this is always to the effect that we need to seize the day, or carpe diem. Tim was an amazing human. He's someone we considered an old soul. He was like third or fourth grade black belt. He was running his own dojo. He was doing a self-defense class that he had to get special training for down in the US. And he would invite his friends for classes, basically pro bono, so that we were protected. He'd drive an hour to get the best guacamole in town. Not an hour total, an hour both ways, just because he wanted the best. And he wanted that experience right in that moment. He was the strongest man I knew. He was the healthiest man I knew. When he got selected and accepted into the Border Crossing Agency, he had to go for a full bill of health, a full health inspection through a doctor, and blood work, you name it, health, all that stuff. And guess what? Everything came back in pristine condition. So off he went to Rigaud in Canada to do this training. That training was for 3 months, and during those 3 months, about halfway through, he started getting some pain in his back. And because he was the man he was and how strong he was, he had that grit, and he sucked it up and kept pushing forward. He still sought kind of medical assistance and getting some guidance from the doctors, and they just said, well, because of all this physical activity and training he was going through, which is quite extreme, that was probably just the bruises and the pains and things from the training. And because he was 30, Nothing else went any deeper. I know he had a special day that I wasn't there to be a part of, but he got his badge with the border crossing after completing all of his training. And I know this because his wife told me that he needed a cane even to walk at this point. And so things were very extreme. He was in that much pain. But he was so prideful that he said, no, I need to get down there. I need to walk on my own, and I need to get my badge, because I deserve this moment. And he did that. They moved from Vancouver into an area that was closer to the border crossing that he was going to be posted at, and packed up their entire life, sold their townhouse, and were renting temporarily because, you know, things change, and he knew that wasn't going to be his end spot. And when he got to this rental place, he still had the same pains, and he still was struggling to sleep. And again, the doctor said, it's all good. You're 30 years old. It's probably all this training you did. He woke up for his first day of work on the site, so proud to put on the badge and his uniform. Got to work, went into his cubicle, and then fell to his knees and was dead. An aneurysm ruptured, and he was no longer part of this world. Nobody had any clue what was going on. And so when anybody tried to resuscitate, or the ambulance or first aid got there, it was far too late. I couldn't do anything. It's painful. Lo and behold, his wife, also all alone with her 2-year-old daughter in their newly rented place, needed to get back to home where her family and her friends were. Meanwhile, trying to figure out why this had happened, and it couldn't be him. Later to find out through the autopsy that cancer had riddled his body, and that the tumors that were growing in his back were pressing up against his spine, which is causing the pain. And because he was of the age he was and the health he was, nobody would ever consider this. You can ask any doctor, and I guarantee you they'd say the same thing. No chance in hell that that's what it would be. Regardless, I have to come to peace with the fact that this happened within a 3-month period. And although we didn't get to say goodbye like we probably would have wanted to, I know that he probably wouldn't have wanted people seeing him in such agony and in such pain, because I don't know that they would have ended it differently. So with that, I say, well, let me start back and say, why do I do Movember? Well, the funniest thing about Movember was, far before it was as current and popular as it is today, my friend Tim used to grow a mow. And it was really ugly most years, and most years I made a lot of fun of him for doing it. And so my other best friend, Doug, who was his absolute, Tim's best friend, those two were like inseparable, the best dudes ever. Doug and I have decided that through the years we would honor Tim by continuing to start growing these mows, because we never did before, and we haven't stopped since. So with that, I say, number one, anyone, man, woman, child, seize the day, because you don't know what tomorrow brings. and you might not have it. So think about what you're focused on. Think about, well, if I'm gone tomorrow, was it worth it? Did it make any sense? Did it bring value to the people around me? Did it bring value to myself? And even if you can shift your mindset just an inch to think about what's really important, which is this journey that we're all on, however short, however long we get, just pivot just an inch and put some focus on, you know, what you're doing today. Does it make your journey a little bit better? And will you leave this earth with no regrets? Because that's the most painful thing if you're lying there on your deathbed. So I'm not asking for you to necessarily donate to me in November, but if you want to, that's cool. I'll share my link. But if you have a friend or family member, or you see someone else that has also grown their mow in the month of November, give them a high five, give them a thumbs up, give them a great job, love the mow, whatever it may be. Donate to them, donate to anybody, just donate to the charity, because it does go to men's health, men's mental health, and it most importantly is drawing more and more awareness. Because if you're a young dude that's in perfectly fit shape, there's no fault of the doctors. It's you have to push, you have to seek more advice or different opinions or blood work or whatever it may be, because the system checks you off as good. Don't drink, don't do drugs. Even if you do that stuff, chances are if you're 30, they're not going to look twice at you. So I don't mean this video to be sad. If anything, I hope that it might just be an awakening for one or two, and that you might pivot that inch. Maybe just put a little bit more energy and where it counts. With that, I'll finish as I often do. Be kind to one another. Care for one another. Love one another. So we don't know how much time we have on this earth. So we got to make it count. And while we're on this earth, let's make it count as big as we possibly can by influencing each other to carpe diem. Take care.